What's up, it's Doug from DIY Yourself. Haley and I are both working from home again, so we needed our desk to fit in our office. And we really need this so one of us don't have to go back to working at the kitchen table. Right, Khalila? So let's get going on this build. First thing we need to do is come up with a design and get some rough measurements. And with the uneven floor, we knew we needed to utilize some adjustable feet. So first we're going to make the legs out of 4 8-foot long 2x4s. Roughly cutting off 1/3 of each one. From there, laminating 2 like-sized pieces by spreading glue across the surface evenly. I'm doing this glue up at the same time to make the most efficient use of the clamps that I own. And after using every clamp that I have, I'll let the boards sit overnight. Now removing all clamps and separating the 2x4s that aren't glued together. Then taking 1/4 inch off each side of each leg. And essentially we'll have a 3x3 post. For this desk, we wanted the legs to have a taper. So we're going to use a makeshift sled to cut the legs. Then cutting out 6 legs at a length of 29 1/4 inches. The look we were going for is a 2-sided taper going from 3 inches to 1.5 inches. Now taking a jigsaw and cutting along that traced line. Cut a hole for the jigsaw blade, clamp down a straight edge, and give you a great shot of the back of my head. Each leg will take 2 passes through the sled. The first pass will remove 2 quadrants, rotating the leg with the square face down. This quadrant will already be gone. And the second pass removes this quadrant, leaving you with just the 1.5 foot. And here's a demonstration of the first pass. Rotating the leg 90 degrees with the square face down, and then taking the second pass. We're now going to draw out some holes for adjustable feet. Placing the insert nut into the hole, tapping it into place, and then screwing in the adjustable foot. For the top, we're going to start breaking down the 8x4 sheet of 3/4 inch plywood. This first cut has 66 inches. When using a circular saw, you will experience more tear out on the top. So to avoid this, flip the good side down. And right here, performing some stop cuts and then finishing off with the jigsaw. So here's a diagram of the full plywood sheet with color-coded pieces and dimensions to help explain the cuts throughout the video. And as you can see, we've already cut out the top, which is shown in pink. Here's a cut list for the frame. For example, here's your blue strips and here's your green strips. Setting the fence to 3 3/4 inches, we're going to cut the 2 blue strips. The offcut after cutting the blue strips won't be needed for the rest of this build. And now using the leftover piece cut with the jigsaw, we're going to cut out the green strips. Then that offcut will be ripped at 12.5 inches. And this crosscut will produce the 24-inch yellow portion. Now the purple pieces are being cut to length at 16.5 inches. And here are the purple pieces being cut to their 3 3/4 inch width. And the same thing goes for the 12.5 inch red piece. And here's an image of all those pieces being put together. To be honest, I kind of like all the colors better. And the frame's going to be put together with pocket holes. So now we are assembling, applying glue to the edges, clamping down the piece, and then applying the screws. And these are 1.25 inch pocket hole screws, in case you're wondering. So for this section, instead of continuing with the stile and rail look, I wanted to incorporate a pop-up power strip, and also I needed a leg to go back here. So just to give myself some options, I kind of made a big slate. And then after attaching the two sections to each other, it was time to glue on the top. After requesting help from all my clamps again, and also from some not so self-conscious heavier items like an air compressor and a bucket of rocks. The pop-up power strip called for a 100mm hole. Well, I didn't have a 4-inch hole saw, and I'm not too confident with my jigsaw abilities, so I felt the best option was to make a template with the router. So the biggest hole saw I have is 2.5 inches, so I'm using that to remove the bulk of the material. And I'll go just deep enough to get the drill bit through, and then flip over the table and drill through the other side to avoid tear out. And now we're going to take our template bit to match our, well, template. With the depth of the bit set to remove about half the thickness of the top, we're going to slowly remove material from the inside and work our way to the outside. We'll then flip the top and also flip the template so that the hole will mirror any imperfections in the template. So same deal here, round and round, inside to outside till all the material is gone, going clockwise to match the clockwise spinning bit. And voila, a 100mm hole. So now we're going to edge the desk with some trim. We'll then take 2 offcuts of the same sheet of plywood and set our fence to match the thickness of the desk. The trim will be cut from a 10-foot long by 3.5-inch wide piece of poplar. You may have noticed the riving knife in the rip position, so we had to do some adjusting with the push sticks to get it through. And the next cut, we went ahead and lowered the riving knife. And then from there, flush trim the frame to the top. Then rough cut the trim a couple inches long to account for the bevel cuts. This sled is used to produce our 45-degree cuts. So I'm going to hold the trim in position, and Haley's going to mark where that cut needs to be made. From there, we're going to cut on the marked line. After both ends of a section is cut, we'll tape it into position to accurately measure and cut the next piece. Then repeat that process all the way around. So now we'll remove the tape, apply some glue to the trim, and then go ahead and tack it into place with a 23 gauge pin nailer. And another beneficial part about the tape is they work as light duty clamps in the meantime. And we'll continue this process all the way around the top. Once you get a couple parallel sections glued and tacked together, I like to go ahead and apply some clamp pressure to close in any gaps. Now that it's all done, we'll let the glue set up for a few hours. And sometimes you have to get creative with your clamps. As you see, we have clamps holding to other clamps. And yes, that is the tapering sled we used earlier to help span the length of the table. And here's a shot of the desk completely sanded to 220. And this is after a coat of pre-stain conditioner. And then after 2 coats of early American stain. And then brushed on 3 coats of polyurethane. And then following the same process for the legs, just in this spinning contraption. And you may notice there's 6 legs here. We went ahead and made one extra one since we had the material, and that way we could pick the best 5. We are going to attach the legs with 2.5-inch pocket hole screws, and we drilled these holes just as if we were drilling through 1.5 inch material. After adjusting the feet to get the desk level, we went ahead and installed the pop-up power strip by tightening the ring to secure it to the base and testing it out. Literally my favorite part of this build. Sweet. Oh, hey there. I was just enjoying this new desk. And if you enjoyed this video, we'll invite you to like and subscribe to our channel for more videos to come. Until then, see ya.